Mesut geldi mi sesim? Bir saniye. Mesut geldi mi sesim?
Geliyor,
Evet,
geliyor
geliyor.
Ayhan Bey
Tamam.
sesiniz.
Tamam.
Geliyor sesiniz.
Hi everybody. Could the commotion in the house please come to an end? We're about to start the closing ceremony. I lost. No, I haven't. So, can we please speed up the seating process so that we can begin and move on to everything? Online committees too. Could the online committees be seated as well, please? So, welcome everybody, delegates, advisors, guests, participants to the closing ceremony of EKIN Junior Model United Nations 2020. May I have your attention, please? Thank you. We will be starting the closing ceremony off with Conference Manager Karan Keskinar's speech. So I would like to yield the floor to him to deliver his speech.
Hey everyone, how are we doing? Thank you guys as well. Mr. Wolf, Professor Samia, our Honorable Secretaries Generals, the management of Ekin College, and most importantly of all, our conference advisors, Mrs. Tincha and Mr. Agdam. I'd like to make a speech today talking about how I think the MUN procedure is outrageous. What we do is basically we take 11 to 14-year-olds with no diplomatic experience, some having trouble with English, and we put them in suits, and we put them in ties, and some of them don't even know how to tie their ties because they're not supposed to know that because they're 11. And we tell them, hey, here are some issues that we got from United Nations website. We take issues that the General Assembly actually discussed, and these are things that 30, 40, 50-year-olds, these are issues that they can't solve at 15 years of experience, 20 years of experience. But how about you go take a crack at it? And the concept, I think, is outrageous. It's supposed to be impossible. But we ask that of you anyways, and we do our best to help you along the way. We give you background guides, we give you excellent chairs. But again, you're not supposed to be able to do that, but you do it anyways because you're amazing. And what we want after these 3 days is we want you to be at least 10% better, 15% better. After these 3 days, we want you to be a better version of yourselves. And this is what I said last year, and you guys accomplished that, and this is what we asked this year, and you guys accomplished that as well. So I think you have a natural right to ask us, hey, EKIN JMUN, you're telling us to get out of our comfort zones. You're asking us for outrageous things, impossible things. Are you holding yourself to the same standard? Well, this speech is going to tell you that we are. When we had a meeting on Tuesday, Mr. Agdam, me and Azra, we were talking about what we were going to discuss with our guests from LAUGCI and from UNA USA. And we were going to talk about how to better expand the program. And we were talking on minor points. Mr. Agdam told me, guys, I think I'm hopeful. By 2025, I think we can have an international conference. And we told them that there was no point in having an international conference in 2025 if we're not going to have it next year. Now this, again, is supposed to be outrageous. You don't invite people from the United States of America and tell them after 3 days in our conference that they will like us so much that they will want to work with us next year and give us their resources and their expertise, but we did it anyway, as you did. What we're going to do, and then we went to the topic of delegates. How many more delegates should we ask for next year? And I told Mr. Agdam straight up, I want 500. And he looked at me like I was insane. You don't ask for 500s when people come to the table. You ask for 100 maybe from international schools, and maybe you ask for a couple of chairs. I said, there is no point if we're not being outrageous. He told me that we should move with small increments. Start with 150 people, and then move on to larger things like 500 people. And I told him, Mr. Akbar, respectfully, I know you're with us and you support us 100%, but 500 people to me is a small increment, because we're supposed to do what's impossible. And thanks to LAUGCI and UNA USA, and with our partnership, next year we're going to come back with more delegates. We're going to come back with better chairs, better background guides, and better expertise overall in giving you the best experience that you want. And by 2025, we're not going to have our first international conference. We're going to be the biggest, baddest conference that Europe has ever seen. And by the way, I don't want to stop with Europe. I want to go to Africa, and I want to go to Asia. Well, not all of Asia, because we don't want to be too ambitious, right? And with all of these changes, I think you're going to have the best conference that you've ever seen, and you're going to bring your brothers and your sisters and your parents to meet the excellent people that we bring. We're going to bring the best keynote speakers, and this is going to be the best experience that you've ever seen. And you guys are going to feel extremely lucky to have been a part of this. That I can promise you. Your sense of belonging to this conference is something that we're investing in, something that we're trying to protect, and it's not going to change with the international conference. It's just going to get stronger, and you're going to have more friends from all around the world. And after this, will be amazing. This is the EMUN world. Things that other people would tell us is difficult, we'll handle them eventually, and the things that other people tell us that it's impossible, we don't think they're impossible, we don't even think they're difficult. We think they're inevitable. Thank you. I would now yield the floor back to my Secretary General to invite Isabella to make her speech.
Thank you to our conference manager for his wonderful speech. Now, I'd like to invite to the floor our Director General, Isabella Yazıcı.
So, hello everyone. Honorable school founders and school principal, honorable guests, Mr. Wolf, Professor Sami, his wife, and honorable Secretary Generals, of course, conference advisors, Mr. Agdam and Mrs. Dinçer, and advisors, delegates, both academic and organization teams. I would like to start my speech by saying we have come to the end of one more amazing EKIN JMUN conference. I think this conference gets better every single year. It's because we acknowledge what happened in the past years and we make up for our mistakes that happened in the past. So last year in my speech, I'd asked my delegates to ask questions, to remain curious, because I think curiosity is what makes the world go round on a philosophical level. And this year, while giving the training session with my Secretary General, Nabil, I realized that so many delegates were asking questions and I was overwhelmed with it. And it brought me so much joy to see that even the new generations are already owners of the element of curiosity. And so again, I would like to ask you one more time to remain curious. As you grow up, as you go to high school, university, job, stay curious, because that is what will make you a more improved version of yourself every single year. I would like to thank our EKIN JMUN team, because even though I never studied at the school, I feel like I'm graduating from the school, and it really feels like a second home to me. And also to our guests, I learned so much from you every single year, Mr. Wolf, and also Mr. Samia. You are one of the most knowledgeable people I've ever met, and I have an even deeper passion to pursue political science after listening to all of your speeches. And to, of course, our secretariat, who really achieved the best they could with amazing resolutions, no time constraints or anything. Everything went perfectly. So I do not want to bother you any further. So this was my speech. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope to see you all again next year. I yield the floor back to the secretariat.
Let's now move on to the part that you've all been waiting for, with the awards and the speeches of our chairs. First off, the chairs of International Labor Organization are going to take the floor to deliver their speeches and then present the awards.
everybody. Professor Samia from LAU GCI Network, Senior Director for Education Program UNA USA Mr. Wolf, Secretary Generals Nabil Fares and Azra Kaya, Director General Isabella Yazıcı, School Principal Yavuz Güneş, and Mr. Akbar. Dear delegates, esteemed advisors, and guests. In this 3-day International Labour Organization's delegates worked very hard to find efficient solutions. There were many first-timer delegates, and they were very ready for and well prepared about the agenda, which were eliminating the gender pay gap and enhancing employment opportunities for refugees and disabled persons. At the end, we passed both resolutions. Now we are moving on with the awards. So the Honorable Mention Award goes to the delegates of Slovenia, Guatemala, and Greece. They are here, please stand up. Thank you. And the Outstanding Delegate Award goes to the delegate of Libya and Japan. And lastly, the Best Delegate Award goes to the delegate of France. Friends, can you come to the stage? And the Outstanding Delegate Awarded delegates, can you come too? Can we have Libya too?
So that was it for the International Labour Organization. Just as a reminder, if you are a recipient of the Outstanding Delegate and Best Delegate Awards, feel free to approach the stage to collect your award. And we'll be now yielding the floor to the chairperson from the UNEP committee. So please, can we have the chairperson from UNEP?
Honorable Secretary Generals Azra Kaya and Nabil Fares, Senior Director for Educational Program UNA USA Troy Wolf, Honorable Director General Isabella Yazıcı, Deputy Secretary General Yağız Kart, School Principals Mr. Adam and Mrs. Dinçer, both academic and organization teams, delegates, advisors, and guests. 4 years ago, when I was a delegate and waiting awards, I decided that if I ever became chair, I wouldn't have a long speech. So now I will try it. The passion, respect, and creativity shown by the delegates of UNEP was more than I could ask for. I would like to add that choosing awards among all of you is the hardest thing in these 3 days. Thank you, my exuberant and lovely delegates, and for incredible enthusiasm. And special thanks to Nargis for always helping me. Especially thank you, Secretariat, for making us definitely unforgettable experience. More importantly, for maintaining such a warm and delightful family spirit and lovely atmosphere among all of the participants. Last but not least, special thanks to my dearest teachers, role models, Mrs. Özlem Balaban and Mrs. Özge. I cannot explain how grateful I am. Thank you very much. and Isabella. Thank you very much for behaving like older sister to all of us, for your care and patience. I'm very glad to be work with you in such an amazing conference. And my dearest friends, Zeynep, Nehir, Demir, Bora, and Sine. I cannot imagine any JMUN conferences without you. Thank you, all of you guys, for just being an incredible friends who turned into an incredible family. Thank you. Now, I would like to move with awards. Our honorable mention goes to the delegation of Slovenia, Luxembourg, India, and Kazakhstan. Our outstanding award goes to the delegation of Sweden and Switzerland. And the Best Delegate Award goes to the delegation of France.
Could the commotion in the House please come to an end as the ceremony is proceeding? Thank you.
I yield the floor to the Secretariat.
Thank you, Ram, for your yield. We'd now like to invite the chairs of the United Nations Security Council to present the awards and deliver their speeches.
Hello, my name is Demir Mekalsri Yazıcı. Honorable Advisor Mr. Agdam, Mrs. Dinçer, Honorable Senior Director for Educational Program UNA USA, Mr. Wolf, Professor Samia from LAS GCI Networks, dear Secretary Generals Nabil Fares and Azra Kaya, Director General Isabella Ece Yazıcı, academic and organizational teams, dear delegates, advisors, and guests. Before I start my speech, I would like to thank everyone that has made this conference possible. It has been my most sincere honor to serve as the President Chair for the United Nations Security Council. My journey with EKIN JMUN started 4 years ago when I was a delegate in the United Nations Security Council. And now having the privilege to serve as Secretary General, President Chair for the Security Council has been my most pleasure. Our committee has debated the Yemen crisis. The crisis in Yemen is one of the greatest humanitarian crises today. And I personally think that this crisis does not get the attention in the global community as much as it needs. Starvation, famine, and much more topics have been debated in the committee, and our delegates have outperformed themselves. I'm really pleased, and I really thank my delegates for their performance. We successfully passed our resolution and I hope that we were able to come to a step closer to peace in Yemen. I thank everyone once again, and I'd like to continue with the awards. Our first honorable mention award goes to the delegate of Spain. Our second honorable mention award goes to delegate of Syrian Arab Republic. Our third honorable mention award goes to delegate of Azerbaijan. And our final honorable mention award goes to delegates of Japan. Our first Outstanding Delegate Award goes to Delegate of Germany. Our second Outstanding Award goes to Delegates of Brazil. And our Best Delegate Awards, can I get a drum roll? The Delegate of France. I yield the floor back to the Secretariat.
Up next, we'll be hearing from the Food and Agricultural Organization. So could the chairpersons please step up? Could we have order in the house, please?
First of all, I would like to start off my speech with my gratitude and thankfulness to Professor Samia from LAU GCI Networks, Mr. Agdam, our SDs Azra Kaya and Nabil Fares, Senior Director for Educational Program, Mr. Troy Wolf, our Director General Isabella Yazıcı, academic and organizational teams, dear delegates, esteemed advisors and guests for making this conference possible and allowing me to be a part of it. Even though the first day delegates were scared to talk or were confused about the procedure, I most definitely can say that they grasped the process quickly and really well. Seeing our delegates' efforts to contribute to the discussion gave me a different perspective from my MUN experience and journey since I was just a delegate a couple of years ago in EKIN College. I'm sure that the delegates were able to gain confidence, experience, and work ethic after 3 days of fruitful debates. But I just want to quickly add that that I wouldn't be able to make this speech or presenting as the President Chair of FAO if it weren't for our dear advisors Nüket Özen and Ayşegül Özge, and my beloved friends who are also presenting as chairs and co-chairs this year. Thank you for your constant love and support for the past 4 years. And to me, you're more than just teachers or friends. You mean the absolute world to me. And honestly, I don't know how my past years would be without you. But now quickly, we can move on for the announcement of the awards. And our first honorable mention award goes to the delegation of Slovenia. And our second honorable mention is Argentina. And our third honorable mention award goes to the delegation of Switzerland. Now we will go on with the Outstanding Delegates Awards, and our first Outstanding Delegate is Russia. Can you please approach to the stage? Thank you. And our second Outstanding Delegate is the delegation of Colombia. Unfortunately, our best delegates had to leave early to reach her flight, but we gave her awards, so thank you. I yield the floor to the Secretariat.
Next, we have the chair. We'll be yielding the floor to the chairs of SPECPOL to present the awards and deliver their speeches.
Honorable Professor Samia from LAU JCI Network, dear Senior Director for Educational Program, UNA USA, Troy Wolf, who was with us last year as well. Honorable Secretaries General Azra Kaya and Nabil Fares, dear Director General Isabella Yazıcı, EKIN School Administration, Honorable School President Yavuz Güneş, and dear advisors Mr. Agdam and Mrs. Dinçer, academic and organizational teams, delegates, advisors, and guests. First of all, I would like to express my gratitude towards the family that we call EKIN JMUN. I have been a part of this family for 2 years. This is my second year in this family, and the family kept growing and growing. And today I'm seeing a lot of middle schoolers in front of me finding solutions to the world problems that are being discussed in the official UN right now, which really inspires me as someone who wants to do something in the future for the world. So seeing these type of generations doing something for their world really inspires me so much. We discussed about the situations of the non-self-governing territories in these 3 days, and also the regulations regarding the private enterprise in space. And our delegates came up with the best resolutions I've seen in my past experiences, and they were really breathtaking, and we had so much fun and learning in our committee. And I would like to thank my co-chair Irmak for being with me and helping me at every time I needed. I would also like to thank my friends, the chair board members in general, for being with me as well. This year was amazing, and I'm hoping to be here next year as well, because I honestly have never been to a better conference before. Now I would like to yield my floor to Irmak to announce the awards.
Our honorable mention awards are Sri Lanka, Panama, Liberia, and Italy. By the way, if you got an honorable mention award, please stand up so that everyone can see you.
We have 3 outstanding delegate awards: Netherlands, Sudan, and Azerbaijan. Please approach to the floor. And our best delegate award goes to the delegate of Slovenia. We yield the floor to the Secretariat.
So that was it for the Special Political and Decolonization Committee. Up next, we'll be hearing from the Social and Humanitarian Council. Chairpersons, please step up to the podium.
Highly esteemed Professor Samia, SGs Azra Kaya and Nabil Fares, Senior Director for Education Program, UNA USA, Mr. Wolf, School Principal Yavuz Güneş, Advisors Mr. Akdam and İrem Dinçer, Director General Isabella Yazıcı, Academic and Organization Team, Delegates, Advisors, Guests. I'm very excited, I'm shaking. I'm Gizem Yıldırım, and I'm the chair of SOCUM since 2017. This is my second time in EKIN JMUN, and if I did any mistake, please forgive me. My delegates were amazing during the sessions. Whenever I looked at them, my heart was melting, and I would like to thank to my friends in here, my co-chair Nisan, and my lovely admin Ali. You were all brilliant. It's too hard for me to specify the awards. After my lovely co-chair Nisan's speech, I'm going to explain the awards. Thank you.
Highly esteemed Professor Samia, Secretary General Azra Kaya, Nabil Fares, Senior Director for Educational Program UNA USA Troy Wolf, Director General Isabella Yazıcı, School Principal Yavuz Güneş, Mrs. Dincher and Mr. Akdam, both academic and organization teams, delegates, advisors, and guests. Hi, my name is Nisan Bader, and it was a pleasure for me to participate in SOCOM Committee as co-chair. Every single of our delegates were amazing, and they had fruitful debates. These 3 days couldn't come true without you guys. So thank you. Also, I would like to thank to my lovely president chair. Now I will announce the honorable mention awards. Please rise that everyone can see you. The first honorable mention award goes to the delegate of Belgium. The second honorable mention award goes to the delegate of France. The third goes to the delegate of Sudan. And the fourth goes to the delegate of South Africa. Bunu da okuyorum. The first outstanding award goes to the delegate of Liberia. The second outstanding award goes to the delegate of Kazakhstan. And the third outstanding award goes to the delegate of Egypt.
And the best delegate awards goes to, I can hear the drums. Thank you. Italy. And I'm yielding to floor to Secretariat. Thank you.
Thank you, Gizem. Now I'd like to invite the chair board of DISAC to deliver their speeches and present the awards.
Honorable Secretaries General Nabil Fares and Azra Kaya, Most Esteemed Professor Ali Samia from GCI Network, Senior Director for Educational Program Troy Wolf, Director General Isabella Yazıcı, Mrs. Dincher, Mr. Akdam, School Principal Yavuz Güneş, academic and organization teams, delegates, advisors, and guests. It has been my utmost pleasure to serve you as the President Chair of the Committee of DISAC. I'd like to thank everyone who took part in the well-being of this conference. It was one of the best. I would also like to thank my Deputy Chair Sarper for his contribution to the committee throughout these 3 days. And lastly, I would like to thank my delegates for their hard work since they were capable of finishing 2 topics in 3 days regardless of their age. I don't want to take too much of your time, so now I'll yield the floor to my dear Deputy Secretary, to my dear Deputy Chair Sarper in order to announce the Honorable Mention Awards.
Thank you, Yiğit. Now it's time for awards. I will first announce the honorable mentions. Please rise that everyone can see you. The first honorable mention award goes to Egypt. The second honorable mention award goes to delegation of Bulgaria. And the third honorable mention award goes to delegation of Kenya. Now we will move on with the outstanding delegate awards. The first award is going to Sri Lanka. And the second award goes to Germany. And the last honorable mention of outstanding delegate award goes to delegation of Ghana. Now it's time to announce the best delegate. The best delegate is
Delegate of France. I yield the floor to the Secretariat.
Next up, we'll be hearing from the Economic and Social Council. So chairpersons, please step up.
Honorable Professor Samia from LAU GCI Network, Secretaries General Azra Kaya and Nabil Fares, Senior Director for Educational Program, UNA USA, Mr. Troy, Most Esteemed Director General Isabella Yazıcı, dearest members of academic and organizational teams, delegates, advisors Mr. Akbar and Mrs. Dinçer, and guests. I would like to start my speech with a little advice to these bright young people. All of you are enthusiastic and bright individuals. Please continue attending MEN conferences because these conferences help you improve many important skills and also help you find people to be friends with who share similar interests and experiences with you. I am thankful to every conference I attended in the past and people that I became friends with in those conferences for helping me become the person I am today. MEN helped me carve my career goals. Now, I want to thank some people who are very special and irreplaceable for me. Azra and Isabella. If someone comes to me and tells me that in the near future the world will be ruled by incredible women, I will put all of my money on you too, because I know that you are going to be those incredible women, and I will be happy to have you as my superiors. Janchat, thanks for being one of the strongest people I have ever known. You amaze me every day when I see you fight for what you believe in and never give up and compromise yourself. Gizem, thanks for always making me laugh and giving me a warm heart that I could take refuge in when I feel most vulnerable and a safe place for all of my secrets. Demir, Zeynep, Tuğçe, Karahan, and all of my friends and also my delegates, thanks for making these past 3 days even better for me. And lastly, I would like to thank the dearest advisors of EKIN JMUN, Mrs. Dinçer and Mr. Akbar, for putting together such a great conference every year. Every year we say that it couldn't get any better. We have reached the peak, and somehow every year these incredible people manage to top expectations, and I believe that they are going to do it in future as well. Now, I would like to yield the floor to my deputy chair to announce honorable mentions and rest of the awards. Thank you.
So we have 5 honorable mention awards. The first honorable mention award goes to the delegate of Iran. Please rise so that everyone can see you. The second honorable mention award goes to Guatemala. The third one goes to India. The fourth one goes to Germany. And the last one goes to Switzerland.
And now for the outstanding delegates, we have 3 outstanding delegate awards. Please come to the stage if you hear your country's name to collect your certificates. First outstanding delegate award goes to Denmark. Second outstanding delegate award goes to United Arab Emirates. And our last outstanding delegate award goes to the delegate of Greece. And lastly, for the best delegate award, can we please have a drum roll? 1, 2, 3. Italy! Now I would like to yield the floor back to the Secretariat. Thank you.
Thank you for your speeches. Now comes our 9th and last committee, so I'd like to invite the dais of WHO to the stage.
First of all, I am thankful to everyone who made this conference possible. School founders and principal, Professor Samia, Mr. Troy Wolf, Mr. Akdam, Ms. Dincher, our Secretary Generals, Ms. Azra Kaya and Mr. Nabil Fares, Mr. Karan Keskiner, Mr. Yağız Kart, and rest of the organization team. We couldn't be here without you, so thank you. Second thing I want to say, I have never expected a comedy like this from the first year. I don't know how to describe it, but if I would be allowed to say only one word about the comedy, it would be splendid. You guys totally nailed it. Resolutions that we have adopted were nearly perfect, even though it was the first time for most of you. Again, thank you. Finally, I want to thank everyone who taught me everything I can do right now. First of all, Ms. Ozan Balaban and Ms. Özge. Thank you for making us little delegates, believing in us, and making new little delegates. Our Director General, Mrs. Isabella Yazıcı. Thank you for trusting me and teaching nearly everything about MUN and being the sister of my dreams. And last but not least, chairs and co-chairs who had always been right beside me with their mortal support. Now I'm yielding floor to the mayor for the emotional speech.
Honorable Professor Samia from LSA GCI Networks, Senior Director for Educational Program UNA USA Mr. Troy Wolf, School Principal Yavuz Güneş, Mr. Agdam and Mrs. Dincher, Secretaries General Azra Kaya and Nabil Fares, Director General Isabella Yazıcı, Conference Manager Karahan Keskiner, DSG Yağız Kart, and academic and organizational teams. 5 years ago, I was sitting in a conference hall like this in my very first junior MUN, questioning why they're saying second instead of first or third. 4 years ago, I was sitting here like you in the first annual session of EKIN Junior MUN, wondering when were they going to end their speeches. Even though I didn't like long speeches, it has always been my dream to be here, giving a speech, and it has always been a pleasure to me to be a part of EKIN and this family since the beginning. Now, I want to thank to some special people, to Ms. Ozan. Since the beginning of this journey, you have been not just a teacher, but a mother to me. I cannot explain my love towards you with words, but thank you for making me the person that I am today. To Ms. Özge for believing in me, and at last but not least, to all of my friends whom we have started this journey together and who are chairs and co-chairs here. Thank you all for being not just friends, but brothers and sisters to me. Thank you. And now we are moving on with the awards. Wait a second.
For the Honorable Mention Awards, we have 3 delegates. First of all, delegation of Sudan.
Delegate, please rise so that everyone can see you.
Okay.
The second Honorable Mention Award goes to the delegate of Hungary.
Third Honorable Mention Award goes to Sri Lanka.
Our first Outstanding Delegate Award goes to the delegate of Azerbaijan.
Our second Honorable Mention Award goes to delegation of Kazakhstan.
Our third Outstanding Delegate Award goes to, can I get a drum roll for this, because this is kind of curious. To the delegate of Denmark.
And last but not least, the Best Delegate Award goes to delegation of 1, 2, 3.
Italy! Like, they were expecting that.